So one problem probably with Catholic intellectuals right now then is that they don't take entertainment and advertising seriously. But that is where a large proportion of the high IQ energy is going
Right.
now.
Look at the writing team on The Simpsons. They're all Harvard, educated.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Conan O'Brien wrote a thesis on Flannery O'Connor. These people have done some serious work. I think you talk about in your classes, Lucas, and how he makes the library central for their production house. Isn't that right? So I think
Yeah.
And that's what he says. I mean, he says about the problem of education today is that regardless of what the state does, what press, the radio, movies, and media does, there you have billions of dollars levied on the public via advertising and entertainment that we're paying to actually be educated in a very serious way. And the official education, public education, is a smaller budget and much less well-paid brain power. In other words,
that's right.
the smarter people are writing this kind of entertainment.
Yeah.
Right.
But we need to engage that and analyze it if we're going to understand these ideas in actual life and practice. And one thing that strikes me is, say you could analyze Stranger Things.
Yeah.
You could analyze Stranger Things, the TV show.
Take one at random. Yep.
So analysis is one part of it, though, but then when it comes to actual, what the point of rhetoric is, it's to interact with it and to speak to the same audience and to sort of apply the same principles, but in the correct way.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that Catholics have always had trouble with is politics, and in order to understand the audience that a rhetorician has to know in order to be eloquent, you have to understand something about the political regime, and it's just not something that we take as seriously as we should. And I mean, especially you see now, especially there's a kind of almost a contempt for American politics among Catholics, and that's really going to serve us poorly as we try to make our case in the public arena. Because if you have contempt for something, you're not going to have a whole lot of incentive to understand.
Well, it's an easy fallacy for humans. The abuse negates the proper use, and it's clear that things have been abused, and it's part about Matt's talking about in regards to the language that speaks with, his father was saying, authenticity. But the premise behind that is that, there's not a clear thought of that, what's the proper use for this, right? And what is it that is actually ordered by and to? And so it's not only understanding where we are, but what the thing is and where we're going. And that's something that I think is lacking across the board in Catholic education, both from early ages all the way up. That is why politics is important, and regardless of the abuse, and almost expecting various abuses because people are involved, what is it that we're actually looking to attain, and what are the goals and or limits that are intrinsic to that? And I think that the Catholic intellectual tradition has the basis for making precisely that kind of analysis in ways that a lot of other traditions don't. So in a certain sense, you could say, well, what's the upshot for Catholics? It's really coming to understand what's already been there and said by, as good as anybody, I would argue, by Augustine, and in a different way by Aquinas. It's reappropriating that in the 21st century, and it's a sophisticated process. Yeah.